Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to the SCP Foundation Wiki. I wish I could have thought of a better name for this series than Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki, but what are you going to do? So in the last episode we read about the biological motherboard, the living room, the 12 rusty keys, and the door. So this episode we're going to read about the skeleton key, the fountain of youth, and the abdominal planet. So let's open up skeleton key and see how that goes. Okay. SCP-05, safe. SCP-05 poses no immediate risk in any direct sense. Even so, its unique functions require special measures to be taken to restrict access and manipulation of the object. Approval of at least one Level 4 personnel is required for the removal of the object from its containment area. In appearance, SCP-05 resembles an ornate key, displaying the characteristics of a typical mass-produced key in the 1920s. The key was discovered when a civilian used it to infiltrate a high-security facility. SCP-05 seems to have the unique ability to open any and all forms of locks, see Appendix A, be they mechanical or digital, with relative ease. The origin of this ability has yet to be determined. SCP-05 may be used as a replacement for lost security passes, but only under the supervision of at least one Level 4 personnel. 5 may not be used for vending machine repairs, opening lockers, or any personnel's spare home key. Removal of the object from the compound will result in immediate termination. While SCP-05 has been shown to be effective in removing almost any form of locking device, further experiments have shown that efforts to disguise the purpose or identity of a lock have proven at least somewhat successful in defeating SCP-05's ability. In approximately 50% of cases where a volunteer was not able to identify a locking device as such, SCP-05 was not successful in deactivating the device. Due to these results, SCP-05 has been tentatively classified as sentient, and further tests are being run to determine its cognitive abilities. However, there are no results that show any trace that prevent it from being able to identify any particular locking device, only that the aforementioned device has been heavily concealed and disguised. Okie dokie. Fountain of Youth. That was a pretty short entry. Oh, so is this one. And it's safe. Under the direct orders of the founder, access is limited to those with Overseer clearance. Overseer clearance granted. Special containment procedures. Whereas the nature of SCP-06 does not warrant any extensive containment, a certain level of secrecy is necessary regarding the object's existence and properties for obvious reasons. The following procedures are required not for personal safety, but to deny or hide knowledge of SCP-06's effects from the personnel who interact with it. 1. All personnel interacting with 6 in any physical way are required to wear modified Class 6 B and C suits. Before personnel are allowed to perform procedures, they must be briefed with material SCP-06-B or 6C. 6A briefing is the correct one and restricted to only those with O5 clearance. To assure personnel are wearing suits properly, they are to be submerged in a pool of water. Any air bubbles spotted signify a leak in the suit. Procedures with SCP-06 are to be carried out under extreme surveillance. In case of contact with SCP-06, the commander in charge will announce Procedure 6XI-12, which the personnel have been briefed to believe mean high toxicity is present and they must evacuate. Any procedure in which liquid is acquired from SCP-06 must be approved under 3 O5 level personnel. The liquid is to be transferred in a quad sealant container under armed guard. If at any time personnel come in contact with SCP-06 or liquid from 06, they are to be confined and terminated after sufficient studies are done. Due to the nature of 06, the most effective termination method is incineration. For full report, see 6-Term-05. SCP-06 is a very small spring located 60 kilometers west of Astrakhan. Astrakhan? Whatever. Foundation Command was aware of its existence since the 19th century, but were unable to secure it until 1991, due to political reasons. On the spot of the spring, a chemical factory has been constructed as a disguise, with the majority of laborers under Foundation and/or Russian control. The liquid emitted from the spring has been chemically identified as simple mineral water in 1902, but has the unusual property of health. Ingesting the liquid produces the following properties in human beings: the ability to regenerate DNA damaged by significant duplication, heightened excitement of cellular duplication, vastly improved abilities in the repair of damaged tissue, and a frightening increase in the effectiveness of the human immune system. Upon testing the liquid on animal subjects, hostile bacteria and viral agents were destroyed immediately. Many reptiles and birds were unaffected, while higher primates experienced the same benefits as humans. Okie dokie. Abdominal planet. We may actually be able to do a few more than just these 3, because it's only been 5 minutes, and I've already done 2 of them. Okay, so the abdominal planet is Euclid class. SCP-07 is to be contained in a ceiling room measuring 10 meters on each side. Room is to be furnished comfortably as a living area along with whatever items are requested by blank, hereafter referred to as subject. Given that providing subject with requested items would not compromise security. Just drink some water real quick. Subject is not to be allowed to leave the room and is to be detained with force if necessary. SCP-07 is located within a cavity in the abdomen of subject. Subject is a Caucasian male, physically approximately 25 years of age. Subject claims to be 28, and 176 centimeters in height. Most of subject's abdomen, muscles, skin, and organs is absent, though subject does not appear to suffer because of this. Instead of normal flesh, a sphere composed of soil and water is present, though it does not actually come into contact with subject's body at any point. The sphere appears to be in most respects a miniature near duplicate of the Earth, approximately 60 centimeters in diameter, although continental alignment is not consistent with that of any alignment known in Earth's history. Sphere has its own weather patterns and negligible gravitational pull, in addition to microscopic organisms somewhat resembling those of modern-day Earth inhabiting it. 2 intelligent species have been observed, though contact and communication with either has yet to be made. Technology levels of observed species must be checked at least once a week and, as of blank, are approximately equal to that of 15th century Earth. Subject claims to be named blank, but no records of such a person can be found. Subject does not require food or water, and while he has been observed consuming both, what happens to such substances after being swallowed is unknown. Subject is intelligent, IQ has been measured at 128, and amiable, and regards the planet in his abdomen as a minor curiosity about his body. Subject appears to experience no stress about his unusual condition. When questioned about the planet's origin, Subject replied, "I just woke up one day and there it was. I don't have any idea how it got there." Subject has provided a social security number and driver's license number and requested that they be checked against known records. When checked, it was discovered that neither had yet been allocated. Dr. Blank has a weekly chess game with Subject, during which Subject's mental health is evaluated. Dr. Blank reports that Subject does not seem to mind the restricted living environment and has yet to attempt to escape or show signs of violence or mental illness, though he has repeatedly requested a computer with an internet connection. It is recommended that this not be provided as it may be used to compromise security. Okay then, let's see what the zombie plague is. Is this going to be a long one? By order of the Overseer Council, this file is to be subject to level 4 classification. Let's just input those security credentials. Oh, it's also not a long one. Euclid. SCP-08 samples have been deemed Class V extreme biological hazards and all related protocols apply. Incineration and irradiation measures will be deployed in the event of a political or military action which may result in the facility being dismantled. A power failure, or zero communications from operatives or outside channels during any given 8-hour period. The quarantine for operatives leaving the facility is 4 months. If a breach has occurred, incineration and irradiation measures shall be deployed. It should be the policy of all G2 sites to not prepare an evacuation procedure. Description: SCP-08 is a complex prion, I don't know what that means, samples of which are stored in each of the known G2 sites. Research into SCP-08 is highly classified and primarily aimed at preventing research which may lead to the synthesis of SCP-08 in the distant future. Traits of the prion include 100% infectiousness, 100% lethality, transmission through exposed mucous membranes and all bodily fluids, not airborne or waterborne. Okay, so zombiness does not spread through the air. Symptoms of infection with SCP-08 manifest no more than 3 hours after exposure and include flu-like symptoms with high fever plus severe dementia in later stages, coma onset approximately 20 hours after first symptoms appear and 12 hours after noticeable dementia. Coma onset will be considered onset of death. A period of sporadic cellular necrosis occurs which comes to resemble gangrene. Surviving tissue assumes its original function and is highly resilient. Interesting. Red blood cells greatly increase oxygen storage capacity, resulting in slower blood flow and increased muscle endurance and strength. Nervous and muscular systems are unaffected by total organ failure for several hours. Metabolism may decrease to extremely low levels, allowing subjects to survive for over 10 years without nutrition. High blood viscosity results in negligible blood flow from gunshot, puncture, and slashing injuries. Conditioned behavior, motor controls, and instinctive behavior mechanisms are damaged, and cognitive abilities are severely retarded and erratic. Animals experience excessive brain necrosis and are inactive. Subjects can adapt to its damaged nervous system, but is limited to basic physical activities, including standing up, balancing on 2 legs, walking, biting, grabbing, and crawling. Subject will energetically attempt to ingest living humans if physical contact is made. Okay. That still worked, but I missed a sign. I missed a sentence, but that still worked. Neutralizing fully infected subjects requires significant cranial trauma, so shoot him in the head. There is a strong evidence to suggest SCP-08 itself did not form naturally on Earth, since variants of similar complexity would have displaced much of the ecosystem. In 1959, a short collaborative effort with the USSR to locate G2 sites and eliminate SCP-08 was negotiated following their discovery. The status of 08 in Russian custody since collaboration ended is unknown. Let's see. Addendum 081. SCP-500 has been found to be able to completely cure SCP-08, even the advanced stages of the disease. Interesting. Okay, red ice. It's only been 11 minutes. I don't know how many more. These are not long ones like everything in SCP-01 was. It's Euclid, though. Subject is to be contained within a sealed storage tank of heat-resistant alloy with dimensions not less than 14 meters cubed. Under no circumstances should 9 be exposed to temperatures in excess of 0 degrees Celsius when not undergoing testing, and no mundane liquids in a solid state, especially frozen water, shall be allowed within 30 meters of the subject's containment area. Subject's chamber is to be fitted with temperature sensors which shall be monitored at all times, and is to be kept refrigerated by no fewer than 3 redundant cooling units. Any malfunction of sensors or of coolant systems is to be reported and repaired immediately. If at any time the temperature in the containment area climbs above -5 degrees Celsius, the chamber is to be locked down immediately and flooded with coolant until the temperature has been brought back down to between -30 and -25 degrees Celsius. Atmosphere must be evacuated from the containment area when personnel are present within, and any water vapor must be filtered and kept in the same conditions as detailed herein for no fewer than 24 hours. Any vapor displaying properties of 09 is to be quarantined and added to the containment area as soon as possible. All personnel interacting with or observing the subject must wear full environmental protection suits. All personnel leaving the containment chamber must undergo dehydration of all gear, research materials, and other objects contacting 09's chamber. If contamination is discovered, no material or personnel shall be permitted to exit, and a level 2 lockdown of the containment area shall commence. Lethal force is authorized in cases of dire need, but all security forces are strongly advised to remain as far away from their targets as possible, to minimize the chances of contact with fluids contaminated by SCP-09. Description. Gotta drink some water again because it's 92 degrees outside and I'm inside and I'm melting. Sorry if that gulping is loud. SCP-09 is approximately 3,700 liters of a substance which exhibits a number of unique properties. While small amounts of the substance in all phases are as colorless and mundane as mundane water, en masse it takes on a distinct deep red hue. Its most notable property, however, is the fact that 09's reaction to temperature extremes is an exact opposite of that of standard H2O. The subject assumes a liquid phase at temperatures between -100 and 0 degrees Celsius and converts into a solid state above those temperatures. At temperatures below -100 degrees Celsius, 09 vaporizes into a gaseous phase similar to steam, though it still retains its red coloration when put under high pressure. Examinations of the atomic structure of 09 have been proved inconclusive. Tests indicate that subject is composed of the same combination of hydrogen and oxygen as normal water, leaving researchers to speculate that the source of the subject's abnormalities may be the atoms themselves. Dr. Redacted has suggested that the subject may have originated in or been altered by another reality in which the laws of physics are inverted. This theory may have some merit in light of 09's marked ability to assimilate natural water into its mass. If placed in physical contact with any aqueous solution, be it ice, salt water, or water vapor in air, 09 will spread and contaminate any H2O in said solution, causing it to exhibit the subject's properties. Though this capacity is present in all phases, it has been observed to progress most slowly and thus be most containable in the liquid phase. If the subject comes in contact with any biological source of heat, it begins a runaway reaction in which the living organism's bodily fluids are rapidly converted to 09 and promptly frozen by their own body heat. Because of their generally high core temperatures, mammals are particularly susceptible. Because 09 produces heat while freezing, at the same rate mundane ice consumes heat while melting, the process is self-perpetuating until all viable moisture is converted or until it is halted by external interference. Experiments on disposable class personnel have illustrated the process of conversion by the subject, which has been condensed down to a series of steps. 1. Initial exposure. Subject is exposed to O9 and it begins converting any water present on the exposed surface, usually skin, to exhibit its properties. Presence of mist, fog, snow, or other solid vaporous water greatly accelerates this process. 2. Surface conversion. A thin layer of frost forms on the exposed area as body heat, and heat produced by O9 raises temperature above freezing. Progression to this step can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 1 hour, depending on victim's body temperature. At this stage, freezing has begun progressing through the initial layers of the epidermis and soon reaches live cells. 3. Deep tissue conversion. Exponential increase in temperature of O9 causes an expansion of ice crystals throughout the victim's body, resulting in widespread perforation of internal cell structure. Actual blood loss is minimal at this stage due to the crystals filling the puncture wounds, allowing subjects to remain alive and conscious for up to blank hours. 4. Data expunged. 5. Death. Multiple organ failure and exsanguination via systemic crystallization. Testing on D-class personnel was discontinued as of April 23rd, 2000-something. Addendum. Circumstances of retrieval. Subject was found in blank, Alaska in November 5th, 19-something. The Foundation became involved after reports were obtained from the native something tribe, who came across the mangled bodies of a team of seal hunters who had apparently been shipwrecked something kilometers from the village. All victims were encased in red ice. Cause of death recorded as internal bleeding. On victims whose features were sufficiently intact, expressions of panic and intense pain were observed. It is surmised that the low ambient temperatures in the area retarded the freezing process. This prolonged the time to total conversion by something hours and allowed the victims to remain conscious until data expunged. Addendum. December 16th, 2000-something. Supercooling of O9 for the purposes of experimentation is disallowed until further notice. Personnel are advised that liquid nitrogen is only to be used on the subject in controlled amounts and only until temperatures have reached acceptable levels. Related note. Possible application of O9 in cold fusion research pending evaluation. Interesting. And let's do one more. Let's check out the collars of control. SCP-10 Safe. Special containment procedures. The objects comprising 10 are to be kept in numbered locked boxes in a high security facility. They are not to be worn except by test subjects. 10 are only to be removed from storage for testing. Description. 10 consists of a series of 6 apparently identical cast iron collars with numbered metal tags and 1 remote control. The control is 10-1. The collars are 10-2 through 10-7. The collars contain intricate electronic components and are powered by small 5mm diameter, 2mm thick, 100-volt batteries. The batteries are rechargeable. The remote is a heavy black box resembling an old-style handheld radio transmitter receiver with a primitive blue-white cathode ray screen and a series of more than 100 unlabeled buttons, as well as a frequency tuner. Through trial and error, the frequencies of all 6 currently found collars have been discovered. A label in Russian is stamped into the metal along with a logo consisting of workers building a pyramid. No official Russian corporation or government agency uses this logo or matches the words stamped into the metal. Placing the collar around the neck of a person and securing it allows one to control their every movement with the remote. It is also capable of producing an adrenal response and activating or deactivating the sympathetic nervous system. The most abnormal feature of the collars is the effect they have on the body morphology. They allow the user of the remote to reconfigure the shape of the victim to an extent that is apparently only limited by the knowledge of the programming language of the remote. Addendum 10-1 History. 10 was discovered in the basement of a lone man in the Midwestern United States after a local disappearance was connected to him. When the police raided the man's house, they found 10 as well as several dead bodies. One of the bodies was identified to be the man. The others were several other missing persons. Cause of death seemed to be mass suicide, however there were signs of significant struggle first. 10-2 Disassemble Experiment. Test 1. 10-2 taken apart piecewise. The parts labeled and several photographs taken, then reassembled. Result: after reassembly, 10-2 continues to function. Test 2. SCP-10-8 constructed identically to 10-2, but with the closest approximations available to the unwreckable components. 10-8 fails to function. Unwreckable components from 10-2 placed into proper locations on 10-8. Result: 10-2 ceases functioning with removal of components. 10-8 begins functioning. Test 4. Components returned to 10-2. Replicable components in 10.2 replace randomly with replicas. 10.2 begins functioning with return of components. Changing replicable components for replicas does not significantly reduce functionalities. Replacement of damaged transistor decreased time for transmission to effective 10.2 response to commands entered in the remote by 12%. Addendum 10.3. 10 has been demonstrated to work more effectively in creating unskilled labor than for any other task. The logo was appointment? Approximately doctor something. Okay, so we made it through what, 6 SCPs? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. So in the next episode, we're going to start with a sentient Civil War memorial statue and see how far we get from there in 20 minutes. So this has been Anachi Sasuke. This was Let's Read SCP Foundation, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Later.